Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 1862. I know, it's a lot of days. Today, what's she up to now? Documenting my journey as I transitioned originally in 2017 from the brick and mortar corporate business world of business. Did both simultaneously for over a quarter century. And then I went only into running my own offline businesses because the internet really wasn't around back then. Well, it was around, it was in its infancy when I left corporate America and just worked on my own businesses. And then the internet came into being, but I was busy running businesses and I was curious about it, but I wasn't curious enough to jump in and learn more until my divorce in 2016 when we finally separated all our assets. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? It was the end of the year, sold my manufacturing business and building and properties that I had with my ex-husband and said, all right, what now? What's next? And I had always been curious about the internet, so I thought, well, I'm going to explore and see what's next for me. And that, of course, led me to the internet. I looked on the internet. I decided I'm going to figure out and jump into this online business world and see what I can learn, see what I like, see what I don't like, see how I can use it to help my family and I grow and build and supersize our own businesses. And that led me down a really interesting path or series of trails and paths along the way. And I started in 2018, I think. It wasn't until 2018 when I got up enough courage with my little puppet, which I don't have any of my prop things around right now. I decided I'd clean things up this year and just keep things really, really simple. And so I started making videos, and then I thought, well, I'm going to document my journey. And so now I think it's 5 years later, and I'm still popping on every day and sharing, with the exception of Christmas 2019 when I actually had COVID. Before they knew COVID was a thing, I definitely had it. So what do I do? Every day I produce a couple of pieces of content, primarily to keep me going during the pandemic. I started doing, and I'd been doing challenges, but I started doing a series of every other month 30-day plus challenges. And we did what was called the Get Up and Go challenge. And then simultaneously I had been doing an annual challenge of my own every day for like the last 5 or 6 years. I think this is our 6th year in a row of doing an annual challenge where we hop on every day, we talk about a topic, and then we have one little action item related to that topic to do every day. And last year, it's had a theme every year. I started doing it when I got these little, and I don't have one handy, journal books up at our cabin. And one was do one thing every day that scares you, do one thing every day that makes you happy, do one thing every day that about love. One was about love. So those were kind of my themes for the first few years. And then last year we did the BU 365-day challenge to do one thing every day that continually improves us as a human being. And this year, one of my longtime friends and one of the first people I ever participated in a group with, where we did an annual challenge in a group just to practice going live with one another. I think about 100 or so of us started that challenge, and I think 6 or 7 of us actually did it every day for a year, through all the ups and downs and technical difficulties and things that can happen in a group. It was on a Facebook group. We shared a video every day, and he is one of the people I met in that. He's one of the people that finished the challenge, and he actually started late, so he did like a crazy amount of videos in a really short period of time to catch up with the rest of the group. So it was really awesome. Chad, Hannah, shout out to you. But he gave me the idea this year to work on, to do goals, focus on getting your goals. So we're doing the Get Your Goals annual challenge. We're doing one thing every day that helps us get what we want, that helps you get what you want and me get what I want. And we're finishing up this month with our first month's emphasis on the emotional area and aspect of our life. I personally have a life framework that I use, and I got it from Tony Robbins, in the late 80s, early 90s, and it involved 7 different areas and aspects of our life: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. And I'm sure he learned it from Jim Rohn. And then in 2021, I was going through a coaching and mentoring program because I'm always learning and growing, just like I think that I should, in order to become a better version of myself. And I was working with a group, and I added communication and confidence to my life framework. So now I set goals in each of these 9 areas and aspects of my life, and I structure everything in my life to make sure I'm moving toward those goals pretty automatically. And during the pandemic, I started my own thing, which I call the SOAP framework. And the SOAP framework is just a little process that I installed in my subconscious so that I am always handling challenges, setbacks, obstacles, roadblocks, whatever comes my way, problems. Does anybody ever have any problems? In a way, on a subconscious level, automatically now, that gives me the best possible result for me, given all the information I have at the time. Now, we sort of do that as humans already, but this makes it a more purposeful, conscious process that my subconscious goes through. And then if it's a big thing, I use the SOAP framework, the process, on a conscious level, because it helps me. It's just a simple framework or process, like plan, do, check, act, the quality framework, right? It's a simple framework that helps me remember the journalistic framework, who, what, where, when, why, and how. It helps us remember to incorporate all of the things that we want as we're coming up with solutions for a situation, a problem, a challenge, etc. Today and every day, I guess it's been 3 or 4 years now, in my Supersize Your Business group, again, as I was moving and part of my divorce, moving, selling our family home, etc., and downsizing significantly because I just didn't need all the stuff I needed when I was raising my family. I found one of my kids' books, a Scholastic book that they'd never used, on 600 plus idioms. And I thought, well, I can just do idioms for 30 days or 60 days, however long it's going to take me to pack up, downsize, and move. And I'll just share one of those every day. What does it mean? Where did it come from? Because there was a little bit of history in there. And then how could we use it to build and grow and supersize our business? And after 60 days, I still wasn't moved, still hadn't downsized, the house still wasn't fixed up and ready to sell. So I just kept doing it. And then after I got far enough into the book, I challenged myself to do all of the idioms in the book. I got to tell you, some of the idioms are really hard to find the business meaning or perspective of. I would think I think we're up to at least 1,600 that we've done. There's only been a handful of them that I really was at a loss for. How the heck does this apply to building and growing our business, right? And sometimes it makes you a different, better human being and a better leader in your business. So today's was, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Now, I personally believe this idiom to be true because it's true for me. I had a sudden cardiac arrest in 2010 and, died. Was in a coma and frozen and all this stuff. And then when I woke up and was revived, I was one of the very few fortunate people that came out of that event with, very little physical or mental damage. A lot of times people aren't found soon enough, so they have brain damage and things, or organ damage. And I didn't have any of that because I happened to go down in one of my businesses, and one of the people there knew CPR. So as soon as I went down, he almost stepped on me. He started to do CPR and had someone call 911. And I don't know the rest. I was passed out and gone for. So it's just stuff that people have told me. But sounds like it was a very interesting event. So I'm super happy and fortunate to be here, but I also know that it was because I made a conscious choice and a decision that I was going to have to figure it out. I was going to have to figure out all the different areas and aspects of my life because, like so many things, I learned about that life framework from Tony Robbins in the 80s and early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, but I was only applying it here and there and sporadically. When we're raising our families and running businesses and working and involved in life and all of the activities that our kids have and our spouses, etc., we get busy and we forget, moms especially and grandmas, to take care of ourselves. And I was totally guilty of that. And so I knew I was going to have to make massive lifestyle changes in order to still be here today talking I guess it's 13 years 13 years past my event this fall. So a dozen years. I'm happy for a dozen years. This year I will be having some heart surgery to replace my Iron Man, my daughter calls it. It's my internal cardiac device, which basically is just like an insurance policy. If something happens, it'll kick me, and it has kicked me twice in one day once when I was trying to run. Let's be honest. I wasn't much of a runner in my youth, and I certainly shouldn't have been a runner when I was, 51 years old, 52 years old. So I learned that lesson. Lessons we have to learn the hard way. I think we talked about that yesterday. So that's it. I'm hanging out with my granddaughters today. If I can help you in any way, please ask. My daughter just had her second girl, and so I'm just here helping her out so her husband could go back to work. Anything you need, ask. I like to be a resource, you know, with yikes, 27 plus businesses offline. And before I came online, I've lost count. Lots of things I might not know the answer to, but I can definitely point you in the right direction. All right, have an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.